Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. Thank you for joining us. Today on the program, we have computer and technology news. This will be your headline update. And yeah, be sure to catch all that and links over at computeramerica.com. Thank you for tuning in, and hey, we hope that you're having a wonderful Monday as we head into our Thanksgiving week. Computer America, I don't believe we'll be doing anything Thursday or Friday, Thanksgiving Day and the day after. And of course, the weekend, we will not be doing anything supposedly. But hey, if we do, twitch.tv/Computer America might be the best place to check it out. Of course, all of our podcasts come from our live stream, and our live stream is, of course, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.-ish. I know that, for instance, Tuesday on November 23rd, we will be having an interview with an electric bike company, talking all about bike at scale, as in, they do the whole, let's see, I think they did like $100 million in revenue last year. They've deployed hundreds and thousands of electric bikes, and we're going to be talking all about the business, how it's grown, how eco-friendly it is, everything to do with that segment of the, of that whole economy. So everyone, tune in tomorrow for that. We're going to have the CEO of the company on. And in the meantime, we will be doing computer and technology news here today. So everyone in the chat, everyone out there listening to the podcast, thank you so much. Give us a review. And of course, computeramerica.com. Never forget. Now, let's go ahead and get started with computer and technology news. And I forgot to bring up my soundboard, so that's going to hurt things a little bit. So let's see real quick, and yeah, let's see, man. Ever since we've been doing the live stream on the regular, the computer is just showing its age, unfortunately. But everyone should be okay. Okay, so there's that. Racks, and everyone, computer and technology news brought to you by Computer America. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start out with a little bit of an update, and that is going to be about, we brought you the story about a group of crypto investors were getting money together to crowdsource a way to buy the U.S. Constitution. Not just any one of them, but one that was being auctioned off by Sotheby's. And this was one of only two versions of the Constitution that were not part of they were not held by an institution, as in, maybe there's one held in the Capitol building, there's a couple in universities. Originally, 500 versions of the Constitution were printed, and, well, two of them are not owned. Two of the surviving ones are not owned, and one of them went up for auction. They were estimating about $20 million would be the ending price. Our valiant heroes, who were part of the collective to purchase it, raised about $40 million, and they ended up coming short of the final selling price of $43 million for that final bid. And we had another article here, just to give you an example. This was by the BBC, and you can see here in their reporting, they had $40 million. They launched for $43 million. They did not know who currently purchased that one. The identity of the new buyer is not known, but this other article from Motherboard shows that it is the one, the only, the CEO of Citadel. There you go. That's and a lot of people would Citadel is famous in the the crypto world for being, they don't like him. They don't like Citadel. They say that Citadel had a lot of shorts out on GameStop. They're, kind of the favorite child, and said that they were betting on them to lose and lose big. And it's always been seen as kind of the struggle between Citadel and people who, kind of buy GameStop and hedge funds and hedgies. He's kind of the go-to poster child of everything wrong with finance. I guess score one for him, and they didn't even know it. Thursday night's failed auction for a rare physical copy of the U.S. Constitution left crypto Twitter in disarray after Constitution DAO lost to an initially mysterious buyer for $43.2 million. And that was the highest amount that any document had ever sold for at the auction. And Sotheby's is like the auction house. No one really sells bigger ticket items than Sotheby's. Like, it was a lot of money. Well, now we know that the buyer is Mr. Kenneth Griffin, the hedge fund billionaire and founder of Citadel, the very same firm that found itself in the crosshairs of internet theories following Robinhood's temporary halt on meme stocks like GameStop. Citadel helped to bail out one such short seller. Robinhood, which offers fee-free investing to users, also sells retail traders' order flow to Citadel Securities, a separately run sister entity to Citadel. Again, this is kind of ironic that the internet would kind of group up to try to buy this thing, and then the person who is often seen as the antithesis to the average investor is the one who defeated them in the place. So obviously the revelation is a bit of salt on the wound of Constitution DAO's failure. The campaign crowdfunded $40 million from thousands of strangers online and had pretensions of democracy, like people voting on what to do with the Constitution once it was purchased. The attempt itself had a populist GameStop-y bent, as contributors styled it as a revolt against billionaire elites, like Kenneth Griffin. There you go. Well, it's also worth noting that the auction was essentially the equivalent of The Price is Right, guessing $1 more than the last person. It's generally not a good idea to enter an auction against people who may or may not have a lot of who may or may not have a lot more money than you by loudly advertising the exact upper limit of what you're willing to pay. And obviously, this group, they were crowdfunded. They let everyone know we have raised $40 million, which obviously let this person walk in and go $43.2 million, and knowing full and well they can't go higher than that. It's impossible to crowdfund more money in the moment. It's again a little bit of salt on the wound, and it was bound to happen. So the document was valued at $15 to $25 million and sold to Griffin for way over that amount and only a hair more than what they very publicly raised, saying that, quote, the U.S. Constitution is a sacred document that enshrines the rights of every American and all those who aspire to be. This is why I intend to ensure that this copy of our Constitution will be available for all Americans and visitors to view and appreciate in our museum and other public spaces. The document is now set to be displayed at the Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art in Arkansas. As for what happens with everything that was raised by Constitution DAO, supposedly the Twitter group says we're going to return all of the money to everyone who sent us money. If that happens, we'll have to wait and see. But very ironic that the person that beat out the group of investors trying to obtain a copy of the Constitution was the one who, once again, everyone kind of cries that this is what's wrong with the system in America. So there you go. I'm sure that he did that totally on purpose to poke the beast. It's once again very ironic. So that's our first story. Our next story should be of no surprise for anyone who happened to partake in the 3-part series from Netflix on Arcane, which is, of course, the anime based on League of Legends. It's been renewed for a second season already. And obviously the show is a success. The co-creators say that they were beyond happy with the reaction, and the numbers also back them up. The first season of Arcane racked up nearly 34 million viewing hours in the first week on Netflix's top 10 chart. Check that out. Making it the second most popular TV series in any language behind Narcos. which is actually surprising. I had no idea that Narcos was, so popular. Though I did know it was popular. So obviously, both Netflix and lead creator Riot Games heavily promoted the show. If you turned on, let's say, Twitch, for instance, you were bombarded with advertising for Arcane. And you knew Arcane was available if you were even vaguely interested in the game that inspired it. And yes, it helps that Arcane happens to be well received by many accounts, because it was. It was a very adult, a very good animation that was inspired by a video game. And you don't often get that. Whenever things are inspired by video games, these things tend to be really bad, really, really bad. And as much as I like Warcraft, I could even point to the Warcraft movie that was very mediocre at best. So now, it does, however, suggest that the relatively high budget game productions have a healthy future at the streaming pioneer, being Netflix. Don't be surprised if Netflix takes more chances on products like this. And I'm excited. It was very good. The ending kind of left me wanting more, but I guess that's what a good show does. It leaves you wanting more. And it sounds like we're going to get it. So there you go. That was story number 2. Story number 3, just a quick one. Adele. We don't talk about Adele enough on this program. Well, she was able to swing her clout and actually remove the shuffle button from album pages. And I guess this is something that people have been asking for quite a while. It's not as bad as it sounds. And yeah, it looks like Adele sent out a tweet saying that this was the only request I had in our ever-changing industry. We don't create albums with so much care and thought into our track listing for no reason. Our art tells a story, and our story should be listened to as we intended. Thank you, Spotify, for listening. And what they really did was Spotify had, and I honestly had no idea, Spotify had set to default, when you pull up an album and you hit the big green play button, by default, it would shuffle all the songs on that album, supposedly to make it a little less monotonous, and just you wouldn't start with song number 1 every single time. But looks like a lot of people, and especially for Adele's 30 and her album, many albums are meant to be listened to track 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and it sounds like people wanted that, and they didn't want to have to dig through the settings to kind of get to that point. Well, they say that you can still shuffle an album using the controls for individual songs. This mainly adds an extra step and pushes you to choose a first track. Rivals like Apple Music will still let you tap a shuffle button from an album page. So obviously, critics have raised concerns about removing a feature to please an artist. It's one thing to recommend playing albums in a certain way, but it's another to take control away from listeners and dictate that order. And I gotta say, this is a win. Well, Adele did something good for a bad user interface. The option is still there. The shuffle button is there. I think that a lot of people did not know that by default, that big play button was shuffle mode. The shuffle mode's still there, and all in all, John Fingus, he writes a lot. He's a very good writer, and I've appreciated a lot of his opinions. This is good. It makes it clear that the play button is simply the play button. The play button is not the shuffle button. So there you go. Okay, we have a couple of stories here from... Okay, let's get weird with this. El Salvador has been an example of cryptomania and everything that's wrong with cryptocurrency. Check this out. You may recall, we covered this on the program, that El Salvador named Bitcoin the official cryptocurrency of the country. And by extension, every single vendor had to, by the end of the year or the end of the month, whatever it was, accept Bitcoin as legal tender. No one could refuse to accept Bitcoin. And they even assigned every citizen a cryptocurrency wallet. They gave them all a little bit of Bitcoin to kind of, get them used to the idea and spend the money. And now they're taking it even a step further in what appears to be an image that looks a lot like BitConnect. If you recall them, BitConnect. This just reminds me so much of that. It's let's see if you don't recall. Let's see if I can find a soundbite of BitConnect. No, not that. Come on. I wanted videos. I clicked on videos. Okay, YouTube or Google is failing me so much. So remember, this was an investment forum, a way to showcase the technology. Yeah.
Hey everybody, my name is Carlos Matos and I am coming from New York City, New York. Be connect!
He's trying to amp up the crowd like it's some kind of weird, I don't know, concert or something. Yeah, and of course they were found for security fraud and they were sued and investigated by the FBI. Yeah, so in something that looks like a slide from BitConnect, El Salvador has announced Bitcoin City. And they say that they're throwing even more of its weight behind Bitcoin. CoinDesk and BBC News report that the president has unveiled plans to build a Bitcoin city near a volcano along the Gulf of Fonseca between La Union and other cities in El Salvador. The metropolis will have its own geothermal power plant to help support crypto mining, and there will be no capital gains, income, payroll, or property taxes, just value-added tax. Yeah, he's definitely trying to attract outside businesses by just doing away with taxes altogether. The city will be shaped like a coin, and while it should include the full amenities you'd expect from a city, people in La Union could travel to work in the new development. They didn't provide a timeline for the city's creation. However, he simultaneously unveiled a $1 billion US Bitcoin bond where half would be used to build energy and the other half mining infrastructure, where the rest was used to buy more of the digital currency. How this guy is able to take the limited funds of El Salvador and treat them like his own personal investment fund, I have no idea. The strategy chief for bond developer Blockstream said El Salvador would start selling crypto holdings after 5 years and pay an extra dividend to bond holders. With an initial 6.5% yield, this could represent a significant windfall for the country if all goes well. Now, obviously, think about this. If Bitcoin goes from 65,000, whatever it may be, let's see, what is the current price of Bitcoin? Let's see, the current Bitcoin price. The current price of Bitcoin is 56,000. So let's imagine they had, they had their holdings and they purchased at, let's just say 65,000, like almost the absolute peak. The absolute peak was like 67,000 and now it's at 56,000, a full 11,000 or about 20% of the entire price. They invest $1 billion, $200 million to this country is just wiped off of their economy. And they're assuming it's going to go up and up and up. They are really, really hoping everything goes well. The move is a huge gamble for the country, as the article states, with a gross domestic product of just $24.6 billion in 2020. The administration is counting on Bitcoin to spur economic growth, independence, and investment, but this also assumes the monetary format remains an overall upwards trajectory. It is also unclear if would-be residents and investors will flock to a Bitcoin-oriented city, even with tax incentives. This is new territory for cryptocurrency, and it's not certain there is enough support behind the project to thrive. They even show a tweet here, and let's see, we can watch the video real quick. If you're watching the video portion, it's the globe zoomed in, El Salvador, and showing the showing the location of the new city with a geothermal plant that will be put there. And of course, the city itself will be Bitcoin City in the shape of, as they said before, a Bitcoin or a circle, a coin. It seems like such a bad idea, and obviously, it even shows feel the Bitcoin City. If this goes poorly, a lot of people's lives are going to be ruined. If it goes well, then hey, it would be one of the first in the world to cater to something like this. So I definitely have a wait and see attitude. I have no hope for it. Now, speaking of weird, we can go ahead and talk about Uber Eats. Just real quick, just an update for everyone. If you happen to use Uber Eats in the Ontario area, you can now buy cannabis through the app. How's that for legalization? Saying that the orders are for pickup only, so no such luck getting it delivered to your door. But Uber Eats is moving into the cannabis market, and starting today, users in Ontario can place an order at retailer Tokyo Smoke, and through the app, they can order their own marijuana. They said that cannabis orders are pickup only for the time being. Users need to search for cannabis or Tokyo Smoke and confirm they're of legal age before they can make their purchase. Orders will be ready for pickup within an hour, and at the store, buyers will need to present an ID to prove that they are 19 or older. You know, we just used a grocery delivery service here, and we ordered a couple bottles of wine. Even though, Craig was the one to order it, and he is of an age that is apparent, I think a lot of people would say. Well, by and large, they still carded him. They still had to take a copy or pictures of his identification to prove that he was of age. They're really trying to make sure that alcohol, and hopefully in this case marijuana, don't make it into the hands of minors who happen to use their food or grocery delivery services. The company didn't mention whether it will offer cannabis purchases in other provinces or via other retailers. Uber has been making inroads into alcohol delivery, and they said earlier this year the company might deliver cannabis if the U.S. Were to legalize it at the federal level. And that's really the big holdup here, is that on a federal level, state by state, tons have either medical marijuana or more and more likely the recreational use of marijuana. But on a federal level, still legal, can still get you in a lot of trouble. So no company wants to even touch it. The floodgates will open as soon as that happens, but so far, no such luck. So there you go. We have 2 or 3 more stories, and how about we just talk about another little bit of an update. And end-to-end encryption essentially means the middleman, in this case Meta or Facebook and Instagram, would not know what it is you are messaging other people. Right now, encryption is not end-to-end. It is encrypted, but the keys are still in the hands of Facebook. So everything gets sent to Facebook or Instagram. It gets sent to their servers. It's encrypted while it's stored on their servers, but of course they can, decrypt it if they ever need to, and then it's sent to the other, to another server closer to the person, and before it hits you, they decrypt it, of course, themselves, and send it to the recipient. All of that happens in the blink of an eye, but still it means that law enforcement, it means that Facebook themselves can read every single message you send through their service. They have since promised to bring end-to-end encryption, which is a big feature on WeChat, which is something else that Facebook owns. Plans to bring end-to-end encryption have been delayed until 2023, as they are reporting now. According to The Guardian, safety head Antigone Davis wrote a commentary for The Telegraph warning that the rollout of default end-to-end encryption on Facebook Messenger and Instagram was delayed sometime in 2023. They said that they want to, quote-unquote, get this right. And by the way, this technology is not new. It's not revolutionary. To get it right should not be that hard for Facebook. They just wanted to delay for their own reasons. So you see that there. Okay, now, The extra privacy is already enabled in WhatsApp. Sorry, not WeChat, WhatsApp. But Facebook Messenger and Instagram still require that you start an encrypted chat or secret conversation in Messenger. Meta, then Facebook, started a broader push towards encryption back in 2019. They said that the country enacting a safety law in 2023 that will require tech companies to prevent abuse and safeguard children. While it doesn't require encryption backdoors, current UK Home Secretary said that they would be shy about opposing default encryption. Has not been shy. So government organizations don't want end-to-end encryption. They want law enforcement to be able to read every single message their citizens send. Obviously not good for privacy, but really helpful for law enforcement. Davis said Meta would still have the power to detect abuse through a combination of unencrypted info and user reports. The delay might also offer time to reassure governments and head off potential conflicts. Chat encryption isn't under immediate threat then, but the longer time frame adds some uncertainty. By and large, end-to-end encryption is mandatory. Other services have already been doing it for a long time, and Facebook just seems to, I'm sure, be feeling the pushback from government agencies to say, don't rush this out, don't do it. We need other ways to detect everything from abuse, terror plots, what have you. Yeah, there's a lot to go over there. Okay, and I think the last one we're going to cover. Yeah, the last one we're going to cover is GoDaddy. You know them, they host websites. Well, they had a little bit of a security breach, and this just comes to us like less than an hour ago. GoDaddy discloses a recent security breach that exposed 1.2 million accounts. And that's a lot. Like, that's a big deal. They said that the web registrar and hosting company has revealed it discovered it had been hacked. The company discovered an unauthorized third party had gained access to managed WordPress hosting environment. Anything up to 1.2 million users have seen their email addresses and customer numbers exposed, as well as admin passwords for both WordPress sites hosted on the platform, plus passwords for SFTP database and SSL private keys. This is a big one. 1.2 million customers, and hey, let's face it, some of those customers undoubtedly run multiple sites. This is big. The document says that GoDaddy believes that the breach first occurred September 6th, and the investigation is currently ongoing. Their chief information security officer says that it's currently working with law enforcement and private IT forensic firms. In addition, it says that it has reset the relevant credentials and will work with users to issue new SSL certificates. Luckily, and I was sitting here worried for a bit, WordPress is huge. That's undoubtedly the majority of websites that most people visit every single day. And hopefully everyone gets a reset and it should be okay. Now, they ended their statement by saying that the company will, perhaps a little too belatedly, learn from this incident and will take steps to prevent such a breach. My big problem with this is that this was a huge breach, and they're just now telling everyone about it, and it happened September 6th. So you have the entire month of September, October, and the majority of November, 3 months. Think about how many websites were compromised. In fact, I can even safely say that Computer America was undoubtedly one of the sites that were compromised in this hack. We found a number of articles posted, some really horrible things, and we had to go through, clean house, change passwords, turn on two-factor authentication, which we highly recommend anyone who runs a website do as well. Yeah, you really have to be careful with what happens out there. Now, this is far from the first time GoDaddy has spoken the same sentence as a security breach in recent years. 2018, Amazon Web Services error exposed data on GoDaddy servers. 2020, they had 28,000 users as well. And later last year, they also referenced a part of a hack that took down a number of sites in the cryptocurrency space. So, yeah, this is by far, though, the biggest hack that GoDaddy has been a part of. 1.2 million users. That's huge. And again, if you run a website, be sure to double check all of your security settings, make sure everything's up to date, and hey, ask for a renewed SSL certificate. Okay, and I think with that, that's about all the relevant news for the day. We hope that you enjoyed. Earlier today, we covered a huge report by Reuters about Amazon and their efforts on lobbying to reduce their ability. No, Amazon lobbied the government in multiple states to change legislation to benefit Amazon directly. We went over that for about an hour. It was a very long report, but definitely worth a listen. Check that out wherever podcasts are heard, and you can definitely find more over at computeramerica.com. Now, with all that being said, thank you so much for tuning into the program. We'll have more computer and technology news in the future. Again, Thursday, Friday, we will have no Computer America as it will be the holidays, and heck, I want to spend time with my family. Until then, everyone, have a great day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tune in tomorrow as we have an interview, the live stream, and more. Until next time, everyone, have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.